Got some dope
For my
beats.
millions and my billions of fans, can you please, both of you, introduce yourselves? Who do I have here today?
Beautiful. You have Mike the Sun.
And I am Moztalk Media.
We have Mike the Sun and then Moztalk Media. Did I say it right?
M-O-Z to the T-O-C. You got it.
M-O-Z to the T-O-Z, correct?
C.
Yes.
C.
T-O-C.
I am so sorry.
Oh, you're good, man.
T-O-C. So
Yeah.
they're interviewing as a team today. Like Step Brothers. No. Was that Step Brothers?
Oh, you're
Yep,
interviewing
we
us.
are
Was that
interviewing
what
the
that
team.
was?
Yeah, we came through flexing in our tuxedos.
And
Sun and stars.
so do I call you T-O-C? 'Cause I call you Mike the Sun, right? Do I call you T-O-C?
Moztalk.
Yeah, Moz Talk's perfect.
Yeah.
Moztalk.
And so let me get it started. I like to go back before I go forward. So
Absolutely.
how did you two meet and before all
It's
this?
pretty interesting. So as it goes back, previous work history, I would have some free time over at the liquor store. I would
There you go.
over at this liquor store I would work at, and I would just kind of just post up, similar to a job I had before this, where I was doing delivery driving and I was delivering alcohol.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. Like my free time, I would literally be in my car and I would just pull my interface out and I would just make beats in my car.
Yeah.
And I would deliver alcohol and then I'd just pull up and I just get right back to work. And then I'd transition from there to the liquor store, which is my second job. And so I'd be making beats. And so one day he rolled through and he was just like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm just like, "Oh no, I'm just working on this new track. I got an album I'm trying to build up." And from the get-go right there, he was like, "Oh, no way, what kind of genre?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a hip-hop album." He's like, "Oh, you do hip-hop?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, it's I'm getting into it. I've been doing it for a minute on the mixing, but it's a whole work in progress." And he was like, "Well, if you ever want to collaborate, me and a buddy, we spit, we've been doing the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
It'd be sick to have you on board."
So you came into the liquor store.
Yeah.
What were you buying?
From my perspective, shit, I was.
Do you remember what you bought?
Yeah. I was getting a tall boy of
There you
some
go.
fucking Blue Moon.
All right, there you go.
They ain't got the big ones.
Classy.
The aluminum cans. You got to get the glass one. So I went and got that shit. And I just roll in and I just see this metal kid. Long ass hair. Dude's just getting down, big ass headphones.
Probably wearing
And
the
I'm
same
like,
shirt,
Yeah,
bro.
probably. Honestly, I think
All
it
white-
was the same shit.
Whitechapel
But
as fuck.
yeah, this dude. Getting down and I see him with his laptop. I'm like, "What you making?" And he tells me he's making some beats. I'm like, "Shit, let me hear it." And he puts it on. And I'm like, "All right, well, let me freestyle for this." And I freestyle for him.
yes,
But the
bro.
On
craziest
the
shit.
spot like that?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
It
on
was
the
like
spotlight.
fate. And the craziest thing is like, I had this best friend since high school. Her name is Latina. Her dad makes music. Her dad's producer worked at that same liquor store. I would always go there, talk shop with him and shit. And I hadn't gone
Small
for
world,
months.
man.
And then once I get there, the dude's gone and this guy's there.
That's so funny, man. Yeah,
it's wild, dude.
Yeah,
I
man.
would always be there talking like music and shit with him, and then all of a sudden run into this guy, just click up, make some bomb ass shit. It's like fake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's funny how that works sometimes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it was super dope. And then we started just like subtly linking up. It'd be like every other week, every other Saturday. And it was dope because like
Oh, sorry. In what age did you guys meet? Around.
This is the last-
How long
last
was it?
year, yeah. So
Yeah.
I was
So pretty
I was,
much-
I want to say I was 24 at the time, yeah.
Okay, so you guys have been fucking around for like a year.
Yeah, about a year.
little more.
And in that year, we've got a shit ton accomplished. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
man.
He introduced me to the other homie we got in the group, which is Ed the MC.
Yeah, because this is
Beanie.
just 2/3 of the group, so this is just
Yeah.
like a pre-interview
Yeah, other homie
before like
couldn't
the
make it.
actual group
Yeah.
shit, you know?
Yeah, but he wanted to be here so bad, and he's dope. He's such a good contribution to the group, not even playing.
So wait, okay, so you two, okay, so Mike the Sun, TOC, and then what's the third guy?
His name is
Two
Beanie
Beanie E. Yeah, so
Two
it's
Beanie E.
Mike the Sun, Moztalk, and then Two Beanie E. Yes.
Two Me. Okay, so did you guys meet and then you met the third member, or
No,
he's your buddy, right?
Me and Edgar, 2Beanie E, we've
Yeah.
been working together on music since 6th grade.
2Beanie E
Orchestra
and
class.
Mozstock in 6th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are super homies, and
Yeah.
then y'all brought Mike in for the Three Musketeers aspect.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah,
It was
completely
really
true.
cool because like
very cool.
what came down was we linked up, and then I showed them my tracks, and they really liked them, and I was like, dude.
Always a great
audio
feeling.
has always been my thing. I've always had this feeling of like when you make a track, that whole car test effect. You know, it was always such a downer to me, and so for me, I've been spending all my time.
For your fans and stuff, explain the car test. Explain what that means.
Oh yeah, okay, so
Because this is really
yeah,
good.
so when audio is much like when you get into it, you know, you have the creative element where you make the song itself. But there comes another process where you got to fine tune things, and it's almost like you're recreating the sound inside of a brain.
Yes.
And once you recreate that, you're able to play that everywhere, and so you can send this brain all over, and everyone will get the same idea. And that's how I always look at it. So, in the beginning, it's definitely not going to go how you planned. You could definitely throw a Kanye song on, and then play your song right after, and you'll see the drastic difference. It's kind of disappointing, honestly, because you're like, damn, bro. I just made something amazing. How does it not sound like that? But then you start getting into like the idea of it all.
Yeah.
It starts to click little by little. And so homies back in the day really killed it, bro, and found ways to recreate the way we hear audio and sound, much like a brain. And so that's what brings me to a car test, because the car test is definitely like you have the subwoofers, you got all the everything you need to give you the best reference possible. I mean, yeah, they got like the S10s or whatever.
Right. Yeah,
There's
yeah.
like the S10s, you know, there's different things you could bust with, but the car test is just nice. It's old school. It's a great reference. And you could, you know, go smoke a cig and drive around while you do it. And so basically at this time when we met, I was already getting my car test to like a pretty good lockdown. To where you would play that Kanye song and flip my song, and you get the same loudness.
Yeah.
You get the same like width and stuff. It was pretty badass. And along that time too, I had just invested in like a new microphone. I got like the Neumann TLM 103, bro. That was amazing. Game changer. I started using universal audio, so it was like more analog gear. It started getting real, and at his point, he has so much music. Like, Mozstock was the producer for 2Beanie E and himself at the time. They had a group of Jetpacks, and we're still doing that. That's still a thing.
Yeah.
And basically, we linked together, and they were like, your audio is amazing, bro. Like, this shit's dope. I think we actually can do something with this. And so I was like, you know what, man? Like, you guys are badass. Let's just get all the shit in check.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go through hard drive after hard drive and just get it up to snuff, and then show the world this badass shit.
Yeah.
And so along that going down, he started telling me about his lifestyle in terms of like him being a videographer and a photographer, and a really damn good one. And fucking, we just kind of clicked there. I was like, wow, bro, you're incredible with video.
Yeah,
like,
I think from what I've saw, it really seems like, you know, you guys vibe and are on the same page. You can't necessarily force that. Sometimes you can have plenty of creative people. They can get together, and you could do something great, but it doesn't mean it's going to be like, I feel like, I don't know, I've drove myself crazy enough to be able to watch something and be able to see your final product and see the work that was put into it as far as before editing, you know?
Right.
And so with that, I can see when things are a little more seamless. At least I think. I'm probably just a psycho. I don't know. But I feel like I can see that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this is good. This is real trippy. I see how it's going. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And it speaks to an audience already. Like you already have some kind of core audience that I know will fuck with it. And that's an excellent start, especially if you've only been messing around for 1 year, right? Yeah. And obviously you've been doing this for longer than that individually, right? So out of you three, I'll start with you, Mike. What would you try to give somebody who hasn't heard your music a simple explanation of what your sound might be?
Beautiful. Honestly, that's great. That's
Right?
an amazing question.
He's waited his whole life for this question.
Yeah, it gets so dope.
Well, you're next, so.
It started off, I used to be an artist. Music's always been
Not
a thing.
used to be.
I know, I still am an artist. I actually make bomb-ass
So you mean you
things.
used to be like a visual artist?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and then I started bringing everything to fruition. It's crazy, art was the beginning of it. I started with like a little comic book. It was called The Legends of Densetsu, with a buddy in middle school, and we started drawing. And I took that to a level where it was kind of just started to question
What were you drawing?
my mind. So it started with like almost like ninjas. Like ninjas, we draw them little fight scenes. It was like straight up anime. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I love anime, man.
Yeah, so we were going, it was almost like a little anime. And right after that, I started getting into doing like drip painting. And so I'd like fill cups up and I just pour and do my own designs. And then I stumbled upon a huge influence of mine, which was Salvador Dali. And I started learning about surrealism, which is just basically just pushing your mind to see like, the basis of it was, there's a thing called paranoid criticism. And it's, for instance, like I could see this drink right here. And it could be a drink, but if I look at it in another perspective, I could probably see it as like a robot or an animal.
Yeah.
And so
it's
what
like
he
the
would
word
do
we've
is-
given things words.
so
And how it associates.
He would have like different pictures of like elephants, and then it would be like a nice little scenery, and like you would see the elephants disguised, or you would see like a teacup in a scene of things. And,
Yeah,
like,
I get that. I
and
get
so
that.
when I saw that, I started diving deeper into it and just kind of doing my art that way. And at the time, I was jamming a lot of the Gorillas.
Yeah,
And so
Gorillas,
I
great
started
group, great group.
getting into like FL Studio and stuff, and I started creating just really like electronic music.
Mm-hmm.
And then as time went on, I started like kind of, I've always been experimenting with psychedelics.
Yeah.
And listening to some bomb music, like huge shouts at Gorillas, all the metal ever, Atreyu.
all the metals.
Yeah, huge bassist, because I joined a metal band before I started getting deep into hip hop and like testing my genres. I even built another name. It was called All Night Vibes, which I would do as my producer name. That's just my secret producer name, which I go by and kind of just like, it's like master of all genres. I would do all sorts. So basically, from there, I was like, you know what? And all these movies, I'd watch movies, and they'd influence so much surrealism almost, where I was like, I'm going to be a musician that just kind of just creates surrealism in my sound.
Yeah.
So I would do a lot of weird, spacey kind of stuff, mix it with boom bap, nice boom, just get it, build that nice hip hop. Black Star was a huge inspiration around that time. Yeah, straight up. What was it? MF Doom, another huge inspiration.
R.I.P. the Moon.
Yeah,
I know, man. That one was messed up.
Yeah, man. Everything kind of played, and it was crazy because I was making the sounds and I hadn't even started hip hop yet.
Yeah.
And then I met a homie named Zach. I think is Welsh, and he works over at a studio, Sunshine Studios, over in New Mexico.
Sunshine
Studios, and I met with him, and I don't think he was working there yet, but I hit him up and I was like, hey man, I see your stuff. You're a big inspiration to me. Like, let me send you some stuff. And he gave me a good idea of like his idea in terms of hitting bars and who to check out. And so I started getting a lot of influences from him, and then he was like, your sound's there. Your sound's definitely there, but you could definitely tune up your bars and make them, more, whatever you want. There's no rules to this shit. But, just kind of just find yourself, and because I guess maybe he saw a lot of influences in my shit. Like maybe I'm going too deep. He's like, hey, be yourself, And so I took that and I take everything with a grain of salt and just kind of push forward. And so that's what brings my sounds, to be honest. Yeah. Surrealism. I want to create.
So dreams. You would say, so in a couple words, you would say it's a blank, blank, blank kind of sound. A surreal. Yes. What?
A surreal. It's like a surreal dream escape.
Surreal, dreamy.
Yeah, and
escape type of vocalist.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that.
Yeah, and it gets crazy too, because as it goes, we have so I make music every day. I'll have probably 2 songs a day.
Yeah.
Of just shit. Like there's no deadline. I just kind of go in and make it. If I feel it, I'll do it. And it's very emotional based. I kind of hit a point in my sound making where it's no longer technical. I kind of don't like people being technical about stuff. Like if I hit a note or anything, I've had people where I'll do keys and shit, and they're like, those keys aren't gonna work together, or like those wouldn't be the keys you would use. And I'm like, no man, you gotta be open. There's no rules to anything. Stiff. You kind of just flow with it, and then once you have an emotion, you could fine tune the emotion. But it's all about capturing everything in the now. It's crazy, but it's definitely broken me into the producer side of things.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, because when I first met you, we was working at a liquor store together.
Yeah.
And you, what was really, I was pretty impressed. Because, you know, a lot of people say they make music and make beats and stuff.
Yeah. That's
so
true.
I'm like, okay, here we go, you know, and they'll play it. I'm like, ooh, you know, I'll try to be nice. I'm like, yeah, man, just keep going, you know. But I'm like, that shit was trash, you know. But I heard you were able to make some jazz music on FL Studio. It was like jazz. I was like, what the fuck? Dude. And it was good. I was like, yo, this is good. Like, I've never seen anybody do that before. Like, so that's good. Dreamy, surrealist. That's a cool way to explain that. How about your sound, Miles? How would you explain yours?
So dope.
Right?
What do you think? What would you explain?
After all of that, shit.
Hip hop.
Yeah, man. Like I'm a hip hop kid. Ever since I was, 6 years old, 5 years old, listening to KS175 here on the radio, just blew my fucking mind.
Yeah, and we'll get the name dropping later. Okay, talking about you guys for now.
But yeah, dude, like that's always been my shit, hip hop, and I've always just been in love with the history. I've been listening to the Inception, Curtis Blow, Cool Herc and all that shit.
That's the real
shit. Damn. And then all the way to the new wave shit. And I guess my whole thing is just trying to get the spirit of the voiceless in this, and I think like this is a big time for people like us, the plight of the brown man isn't really, around right now. We got kids in cages. We got, so much social issues that just aren't addressed for, Mexican and Latin American peoples. So I kind of want to get that into all this with some good music to vibe to. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to, give voice to the voiceless as well as make some good jams. Have a good time.
So you are, okay, so from what you just told me, you would give yourself a original hip hop sound with what? What do you mix into that?
With the new age problems. I mean, like we got all this technology. This is a whole new world here. We're living in the digital renaissance right now. Yeah. So it's like we're all adapting as we're all going on. I mean, media is crazy right now. Like fucking we get podcasts getting more viewers than the Tonight Show. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like this is all
it's
shit.
Definitely
so
changing.
It's kind of hard to like really say like what I'm trying to do because it's like we're all in the Wild West right now.
Yeah. So and it's always subject to change, but it's just like okay.
I'm trying to integrate the new world with the old world.
Let's say this. Yeah. So let me make my question easier for you. Okay? Yeah. Because that was awesome. So let's say we're in a store where you buy like CDs. People are buying CDs, right? What section would I find just you as a solo act? Where would I find you in the FYE or whatever it's called? Like what genre of subgenre of hip hop or rap or just hip hop would you put yourself into? Right. Not putting you in a box, but just you know what I mean. Just
conscious trip hop. Like you said, it is still surrealism.
That's a beautiful one right there.
Yeah.
So boom. So now we have surrealist, dream, cloud rap, dream rap, and then we have what did you just say?
The conscious trip hop.
Trip hop. We mix those.
Yeah.
And then what is what's his name? Beans?
Yeah. Two
Beanies. I'll probably call him Beans. Two Beanie though. Yeah. My boy Beans though.
That's so good.
So what would you? Okay. So together, what would you consider his sound? Conscious trip hop.
You know what? So it was amazing. He made a beat not long ago.
Wait, is he a vocalist too, or is he just on the beat?
It's very interesting. Okay, so
you
as
all
it
do
goes,
a little bit of
everything,
right?
Players,
we
do everything.
Yes,
Okay.
we all do everything.
Pretty cool.
And it's really cool when we all teach each other.
100%.
You know, we really stick to that group, and we make sure, because I've been in bands, I've done this shit, and I've seen it not work.
Right.
I've seen people not pull weight. And it's
and
really
cycling
cool.
through drummers.
Yes.
100%, right?
That's funny. That's hilarious. And I've seen the commitment and the hunger for this right here, and it's so beautiful. It really is, because I thought I was the only one, dude. For the longest time, I was like, damn.
I understand.
It got to a point where I would go and meet new people, and it still kind of is like this, but they wouldn't be teaching me. It would be the other way around. Right. I would be meeting them. They're like, oh, you make music, you do this and that, and it gets down to the nitty gritty, and it comes down to me showing them the ropes almost, and they're so thankful. They're like, dude, you're fucking like, thank you so much. Like, yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, no problem. You know, like I don't mind it, but it would be beautiful to run into somebody of that caliber who could be like, damn, bro, I love the style you're building up. Maybe you could throw a couple of these things in here and really get that shit going. Yeah. Now, as it goes, YouTube is fucking God. And I've been able to, and I take everything with a grain of salt. There's not one thing I'll be like, all right, that's the shit, I'm gonna do it. No, it's more like, I'll implement this and I'll see what's good, and then I'll innovate it. Yeah. And so innovation.
Wait, hold on, but we're talking about beans right now.
Don't
go exactly. You're ready to get into it. We're not there yet, man.
What I get out of that though is with his orchestra background going in. With his orchestra background going in, I see him making a beat not long ago, maybe a month ago, and it was very jazzy too, bro. I threw on, and it was cool because I was loading him on instruments. So I was basically like, and I do that a lot in my sessions where I'll roll through, and I'll just kind of like let them get the MIDI, and I'll just kind of load them with sounds. So I'll let them play, I'll record it. They kind of don't even know they're being recorded. I'll just be like, hey, like, throw some shit, give them a beer, and then they play some shit. And so we were already vibing, and I kind of just was like, throw them a shit, do, and I'm like, oh, that sounds sick. Load him another sound. And he's just going through playing. And then by the end of it, I hit play and unmute all the sounds, and it's like a beat. And we hear it back, and I'm like, damn, bro. And I'm just like, holy shit. 2Beanie makes beats as fuck. And he gets down. And so right then and there, I'm like, all right. We all got it. Because homie right here, Moztalk, fucking video king, bro. And I've learned so much. And so is 2Beanie E. And we're all getting to that caliber where we could all help out, give our influences, and really make what we want to make.
Dude is hella melodic too. He listens to like a lot of Corday, a lot of Don Toliver, like, you know, he's like our lifeline to like a lot of the newer artists as well. So he gets like a lot of that perspective
it's
into
really
all
cool.
this shit. Yeah, he's got a great ear as well as, you know, a lot of talent with that shit. With the he played violin. He was first chairing our shit. He was like, you know, he's super smart with that. And so it's dope to see it all being integrated now, you know, like 12 years later since we first met.
Crazy.
You know, like even longer.
Yeah, man.
It was like, it's been 15 years. We were like 12.
Yeah.
So I'm 27 now. Yeah. He's 25.
There you go.
You know, 2Beanie, he's 27 as well.
Yeah.
So,
So he has a melodic sound, you said. So.
Definitely very
That's
melodic.
really cool.
It
seems like a lot of sounds melded in one,
exactly. Right? Yeah, it's a little melting pot of like different ideas and suggestions, and everybody's so creative that it just like, you know, it works. And just as any creative team, like people butt heads and conflicts and stuff. But the beautiful thing about it is that we're all going to the same, you know, we have the same goal to make this shit sound as great as we can. So as long as that's so there,
beautiful,
you know, then we can entrust each other and like give each other the negative feedback and the positive feedback that we need to make the track more refined.
You'll get better and all that stuff, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so you three are the CraftCultCollective?
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah. We got we got another artist there, Miggy Monroe. He's our singer.
And we got Miggy Monroe. So 4. We got 4 total.
Yes. And honestly, the way I think about it, depending on how far we want to take it, it could grow.
It's not exclusive.
Of course it could.
It's not an exclusive thing.
It has to. It has
talent
to grow.
is so real, and we see it every day. And wow,
Yeah.
The people,
So why call it the Craft Cult Collective?
Interesting. So it's kind of funny. Making names to define who you are and what you're about is very hard to do.
And it's the most important thing.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy. I look at it like being a superhero to this world and giving yourself an identity. And so it started with
We on the Doozy, folks.
I started doing when I started doing art like a beast, it got crazy. And I had an idea of making, and this is before I moved to Colorado. I had an idea of getting paintings and selling them, like where people could go and drink and then make paintings, just like a sip and paint.
Sip and paint, yeah.
And it was interesting.
So you started that.
Yeah. So I had
listen. Like no one's. So no one's ever gonna believe you,
That's
unfortunately.
So funny.
I don't.
But I, you know the word Bay.
Yeah.
I started Bay.
That's
No one's gonna believe me, but I swear to God, I started Bay, bro. I swear to God, that's my claim to fame.
perfect.
I don't
I
believe
still gotta-
either of you two right now.
My stepdad claims that he started super bad. Like,
Really?
He used to say that back in the day, like super bad.
Oh,
that's
yeah, who's
super
been
bad.
saying
Yeah,
that,
they made the movie and he was.
I swear to
all
God, bro,
fucking
that was
hurt.
me,
He
dude,
was
that was me all day.
it's just sad. But like, I started doing art, and so my art name.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
beginning
So why-
was
yeah,
gonna
why is it
be
Craft
All Night
Collective?
Vibes, and I was like, okay, I'll use that as a way to just like a brand name. But as we started meeting and talking, I came up with this idea called CraftCultCollective. Now it started as a clothing design or a clothing company.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
for sure.
And so we started it as a clothing company, and as things grew into it, I was like, you know what? Let's make this the collective, like the group right here, and then that could be the clothing line too. You know?
Yeah, of course,
So,
of course.
Yeah, we started getting down on it, and it was crazy. It started at first. It was like, cause like I didn't think it was a long ass name, and then I was like, oh fuck, like yeah, long ass name, this and that. And I was like, well, you know what? I could just call it like triple C's or something, or like Craft Collective slang.
Can't do triple C's.
No, you're right.
You know why?
Why?
Because Rick Ross already has triple C's.
Oh, what a G! Rick Ross, shouts to him.
Yeah,
Homie,
man.
Rose.
Hey.
Good job.
It was him, Gunplay.
So I guess we could just throw it as like what we
Yeah,
had.
so
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you can do
It's
it.
still dope.
I'm just saying,
too.
there's one before it, so when they Google you, that might come out first. So,
And huge shouts, cause yeah, dude, coming up with names to like identify yourself is really difficult, cause like
Definitely.
you're taking in
right,
your
because you
whole
want to like
being.
stick with it, right? And it's like,
so
I gotta pick this, like,
Yeah, it took forever to come up
Possibly
with Mike
forever.
the Sun. Honestly, Mike the Sun, it literally came down to people being like,
yeah.
damn, you're always happy. You're always doing this and shit. I was like, you're always like,
Yeah,
bright like the sun,
you're always
bro.
in a good mood.
And so I was like, you know what?
I don't want to
Mike
see you
the
in a
Sun.
bad mood.
Yeah.
It's gonna throw me off.
Yeah, it's
And be like, oh,
It's a
what
game
the
changer.
hell?
Yeah, it's a
He's
game
a monster when he's
So with wait, so, okay, so well, okay, so it's a little different when I'm interviewing two people or a group.
Right, absolutely.
But so let's finish. I want to finish a little bit of the where you're from aspect real quick, so we
Oh,
can
yeah,
get
yeah,
off
yeah.
of that and really talk about the hip hop and the music and
shit.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let my dude say like really like catch up to me. But so if you can, and I'm gonna start. Can I start with Miles this time?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
please.
So
by all means.
tell me a little bit about your because I'm not from here. I'm from Cleveland. I'm this other side of the country.
100%.
So
yeah.
it's
a different
it was-
Midwest there.
It's totally different. I don't know why they call it the Midwest, but that's
Right.
what they call it.
Crazy. That is crazy.
And so can you tell me a little bit about your upbringing and what triggered you to start doing creative things?
Right.
Can you do a little bit like that for me?
Yeah, absolutely. I come from a long line of musicians on my dad's side.
And we just talked about the Brown Boys. A lot of
Yeah, Mexican.
Are you
100% shit.
You're Mexican too,
Representing.
100%, right?
Fuck, dude,
Ish.
I'm such a mutt.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so many things.
Okay,
yeah.
we'll get to you in a second.
Yeah.
All right, so straight up
100%,
Chicano.
Yep.
Let's get it.
Definitely.
Primo.
Born in 9/4, shit. In the middle of both the coastal wars with East Coast, West Coast shit.
There you
So,
go.
I was born in the midst of a lot of turmoil with hip hop. And
it was Colorado you were born?
Yes, Colorado, born and raised, little native here. And yeah, man, like, music's been a part of my life my entire upbringing.
Existence.
Yeah, exactly, man. Ever since I was incepted, I'm sure that my parents were banging to some bomb ass cumbias.
Yeah.
Some shit. But on my pop side, it's all musicians, saxophone players, singers. He's a singer.
Oh man,
so
sax, that's such a hard instrument to play.
Dude, absolutely.
Yeah,
That was my
really
Uncle
talented.
Jesse. And yeah, man, like I grew up in a long line of that shit. And as well as like I had a hard upbringing. I mean, it's the 90s, everybody has.
Yeah.
So I feel like that generational trauma is really what pushed that creativity, because I mean, like, there shouldn't even be Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the Spanish blood mixed with the indigenous blood. It's the colonialism that's coming in. So it's not even like itself a lineage. It is a mixture its own right.
Yeah.
So like, typically, the indigenous peoples of Mexico, they would speak Nahuatl. Like the Mayans and the Aztecs, they would speak Nahuatl. And that language was taken from by the Spanish. Now everybody speaks Spanish down there. So as a non-Spanish speaking Mexican, that already puts you on the outside. I mean, I'm sure y'all have seen, all the Edward James Olmos movies.
So it's a culture shock for me. Like, where I'm from, there's no Mexicans, bro. Like, it's Puerto Ricans, which is pretty close, but there's a big difference, though.
100%,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's like the whole too white for the browns, too brown for the whites, not really fitting in anywhere, man without country kind of shit. So that's an interesting perspective, to always be on the outsides of shit. So, just like, I've always been an observer of everything that's going on, family and drug trade, guns and shit. And like, that's never been me. I'm more of like an artist. I'm a lover. Like, that's where I've always come from. I've seen a lot of shit, and a lot of, there's a lot of racism and social inequalities that we face every day that's just not being spoken of. So I feel like, this is the right time for us to get our voices heard.
That's so there was a moment when you were coming up. And
MERS 316. I was 15 years old.
MERS? Is that what it was?
MERS.
So on that one is
that's
funny. I just watched it. Yeah, please. I just watched a video with MERS explaining something. So on that, was it the album that had the LA song, the L.A. California A Hot?
That's Murray's Revenge. That's his second album with Ninth Wonder.
That's his second. Okay, that was my shit. I remember that song.
100%.
Yeah, that was my shit. So you heard that and you were like, you know what? I could do this probably.
That's exactly what I said. I heard what he was saying. I was like, man, this man's just a journalist. Saying his life, and that's exactly what I want to do. Like,
beautiful.
Just, he's given his whole soul in that album. I mean, you have the Hustler song, Hustle, Hustler. Never find a dime that ain't my motherfucker. Like, talking about doing shit, grinding.
Right here.
Right, dude, grinding as well as being on the good side of the law. Trying to use your head to get out of the same shit, the same cycles that they're trying to get you in. They want to get you as a inmate. They want to get you on this whole cyclical, penitentiary bullshit that everybody's on. And it's just like trying to think outside the box, get us outside of this pen that they're trying to get us into. So, like, that was illuminating for me, that you could use your brain to make music that says more than just your typical gangster shit. That says more than just your typical club banger shit.
I love that. I love that. It's very cool. I love MERS too. MERS is really cool. MERS is a really underrated artist for sure. But if you know, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
And then so what about you, Mike? When was that moment where you realized, like, okay, I think I need to start putting this together?
Fuck.
Like, seriously, like, what was the moment?
It gets crazy. Shit. Okay. I would say I started using FL Studio in like 2015, I think.
Yeah. Okay, but why did you start using FL Studio?
Prior to that, I was in marching band. I was doing some dope drum shit. I wasn't the best.
Yeah. But you're still on the
I
squad.
was playing guitar, but I didn't really show people I played guitar. It was kind of something I did in the background. In the middle school I came to at the time, everyone was playing guitar, and so that's when I learned guitar really, and I was also learning drums. I took that to high school, got in a marching band, and I started like understanding rudiments and really learning time. I came down to college and I started, it was like 2015, 2014 area, and I started, opening FL Studio and kind of just opening it and closing it. I couldn't really get it.
Right.
Like, fuck, what the hell even is this?
Yeah.
I just knew, prior to that, I was using Guitar Pro 6.
Oh,
Recording all kinds of guitar shit. I was making music. Shouts to All Shall Perish. Shouts to Atreyu again.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Comeback Kid. Fucking Bury Your Dead, bro. It all goes. And I was just getting it. I was a metalhead. And it was funny as fuck. I used to be learning like Avenged Sevenfold and Bullet for My Valentine.
Yeah.
And then one day I started learning this band called In Flames. And my sister kind of gave me respect. She was all like, oh, finally you're learning like something dope. And no cuts to Bullet for My Valentine or Avenged Sevenfold. They're hard as fuck. They're all talented. Hella talented. In Flames for some reason was just the shit that was underground. My sister knew there was like promise in it in terms of like the depth of which they speak at. And so I took that to the next level and I started opening up, FL Studio more, learning the shit. And then
now was your FL Studio, did you have the crack version like most people who start? Or did you have that demo shit where you couldn't even save it?
It was definitely cracked, and shouts to everybody who tries that. 100%. If you love the product, buy the fucking product.
It's like $250.
If you love this shit, any plugins, you love it and you're using it, buy the fucking shit. Don't go out this thick, bro, because people know and real is real.
Yeah, you don't gotta pirate it. But if you down bad and you gotta do it, you gotta do it.
And it's crazy because and so from there I got a good idea into it and it gave me a good feel and I was like, you know what, this is for me. I started making Gorillaz type shit and then I was like, oh wow, I never knew, because it was weird. You kind of jump onto it, you're using stock shit and then you're kind of just, for me personally, it was like electronics. I was just bumping.
Yeah.
And then it hit a point where I was like,
what was that point where you took it serious?
I think I saw a Kendrick Lamar interview and it was To Pimp a Butterfly. Yeah. And I was so fucking blown away. And I discovered Flying Lotus. And I discovered Thundercat. And I was fucking gone,
DBZ,
bro. After that, the world was my litter box. I started really, Black Star, bro. Binary Star, bro. I started going deep into
all the stars.
All the stars, bro. I started fucking really just diving in. And for me, prior to this, and still kind of, I've always been, like, when I would listen to music before I started getting into producing, it was scary. I would listen to it and I would ignore the lyrics. It was all audio. It was all audio for me. I would just kind of ignore the lyrics and just kind of lose myself in the sound.
Into the sound, yeah.
And so to integrate from being into sound to being, an artist, it was kind of hard for me. It took a lot of time to really figure out lyrics, and I'm still on that level. Like I've come a long way, and I know I'm in a good spot, but I know I have a lot of ways to really bring the emotion to fruition in a spot that it's interpretable.
Yes.
Amongst people who, like, someone who doesn't know a thing could hear, like, that's the goal. Someone who doesn't, because the main goal through all of this is the world is fucked and something needs to be done. I realize now through music it's crazy because prior to this in college I was going to school for pharmacy, which is wild to think that, but I realized I was hurting people and not helping, and I realized that it's just another fucking job that has no soul in it. And so I was like, you know what, how can I hit the most people at once to portray the message that nothing fucking matters, You could be whatever you want to be, you could do whatever you want to do, and it's kind of almost in a point where I'm like, I just want to inflict change. Binaural beats, for instance, that was a big killer or a big thing to this, because I realized people could listen to certain frequencies and different things and get something out of it.
Yes.
So I was like, wow, if I can manipulate people with my sound and make them realize that this world is under control and we're just being conditioned, then I could do so much more change. Because, dude, I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm happy with what I've done. But to get to that point, the amount of struggle, the amount of things I've had to do, the amount of wrong and right, it's like, wow, it's no longer even distinguishable, bro. I'm walking around blind, driving around with no fucking lights on. Yeah. It's a matter of like, and I know I'm not the only one. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's make less fucking people, bro. This world's fucking wax cold, bro.
Too many.
And so that's where my sound comes from. I want to kind of like, I kind of want to try to dig that deep and almost restart something that wasn't there, or that was there and died. Yeah. And I want to restart that and bring that fruition to make people do even more, bro. Because, dude, this world, there's way more in this than we even can fathom. Yes. If we can unlock that, dude, the world is our litter box, bro. There's nothing that matters. So that's me, dude. That's my sound. That's my reason why I do this shit.
And with that, we're going to take a break. I'm going to play a little bit of these guys' music.
Butte.
And then we'll be back for the second half of the interview. All right? Yeah?